Good evening, friends. I'm Puru, work with NASSCOM, and take care of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Thank you for joining us. It's pleasant to see a lot of people passionately, joining us to understand. Is it an opportunity? Is it really Tamil Nadu transformed? Am I getting the right message across? Great, right? So these all will be lingering in your minds, right? Right? So we have the Secretary for IT, Mr. T.K. Ramachandran. So can we have you here? And Mr. Atulanand IAS, Managing Director of Helcott. Sir, can we have you here? So, one good thing is both are from IIT, understand technologies, engineering graduates, so you could really interact very well. Before that, I just wanted to set this context. There are two objectives for us to be here. NASSCOM tried to coordinate this along with TIE with the objective of showcasing Tamil Nadu as a destination of choice for the investors to look at seriously. What has really transformed and what is happening in the state. And the other thing is that to invite you all for the Global Investors Meet, which is happening on September 9th and 10th at Chennai. With these few words, I'll request our Secretary to take it forward.
So let me first start by wishing you all a very warm evening. We are very glad to be here with the members of TIE. We are very happy and grateful to them that they were able to host this event and help us reach out to the larger community in Silicon Valley. Of course, unlike the people whom we just met, the board members, many of whom are here, and who just introduced to us the work that TIE is doing. And many of them, of course, are very successful entrepreneurs, and they have done extremely well in this country, in this state. Unlike them, we are generalists. Of course, the word generalist is a very pejorative kind of word. So the depth that they have in technology, we have lost. We have strayed into administration. But then, there are certain things which administrators can do, and one of them is to bridge the gap between the public, the user, and the technologist, the producer of technology, the producer of products. And bridging this gap is what we are seeking to achieve today. We represent the Government of Tamil Nadu and the Electronics Corporation of Tamil Nadu. The MD is here. I'm the chairman and also Principal Secretary IT. Both of us have some background in technology, but not as much as some of you have. So it's in one way for us a visit to what I would call the temple of computing or IT, or the world center of IT, which is Silicon Valley. Of course, we have visited the US earlier, but this Silicon Valley is something that you have to visit. You have to see every single company, go to every single company and see what they are doing in order to feel inspired. And I'm very grateful that we got this opportunity to visit some of the best companies in the world and look at what they are doing and how they are innovating. Now, we are here today primarily to discuss with some of the entrepreneurs here, to discuss with some of the top companies in the world here, and find out what they are doing so successfully and whether we can transplant some of this success back in India. And since most of you are from India, we see there could possibly be an emotional connect, which we can take advantage of, which we can leverage. And often I find the emotional connect is more powerful than the logical connect. Of course, dollars will always speak, but sometimes the heart also speaks, right? So let's hope that in this case, the heart will speak louder, stronger than the mind, and that some of you at the end of this presentation might want to join us and take a flight back to India, and maybe with a few $1 million tucked into one of your pockets. So here goes. I have a small presentation. Of course, it's not all that simple, I know. But anyway, the sales pitch is always high, and then you can decide whether to fall for it or not. So, Ignition, just do this. You can do it. Basically, we are here to invite you, or those who might like to be part of this event, to what is called the Global Investors Meet. This is the season of investor meets, as you must have already realized. A lot of people are looking at a lot of dollars, and the belief seems to be that the more the investment, the better the returns. And we see an opportunity in this because over the last year, the tide has turned. The economy has started being kick-started. And there is a lot of optimism in the country. And therefore, we feel that this is the right time that a lot of money can be attracted, a lot of investment can be attracted into India. And so therefore, I'll start with what is happening in the country. And if you, at some point of time, if you think I'm being unnecessarily detailed, you can stop me and I'll proceed. So the first thing is that the growing domestic consumer base, and we are looking at per capita incomes of course, not very high from the US standards, but then when you multiply it by the other term, that is the 800 million people, that's a huge number. So, and 800 million people less than 34 years. So that's a large number of young people, and that is what we call the demographic dividend. So these are the advantages of the country at the moment. One is a strong democratic tradition, then progressive economic reforms, and now investor-friendly government initiatives, and a strategic direction which has now been given to the government. Next. Among 110 countries, India has secured the top rank in Business Profitability Index. It's called the BPI, which is based on some of the parameters which I've linked there, which I've shown there. India's ranking has jumped from 6th in 2014 to the 1st in 2015. The US is at the 50th. So this might be one case where we are actually number one. So, but of course, you know that flows always move from where they are with higher pressure to low pressure, from the source to the sink. So here we have the sink. So obviously, the flow is moving there. Next. And what is Tamil Nadu's location in this entire picture? We are very strategically linked to some of the major cities of the world. Many of you are from Tamil Nadu, and therefore you know that it's a picture which looks, those three terms that are there, business profitability index. I'll just go to that. Let the slide come on. Yeah, I'll just finish the presentation and go into some of the details. Now, what differentiates Tamil Nadu? It's the first state in India to attract 8 major automobile manufacturers. Now, unlike what we might think, a large number of global companies are actually in Tamil Nadu. That includes Hyundai from Korea, Ford, of course, Nissan, Renault, BMW, Daimler, and Yamaha, and Mitsubishi. And, of course, Chennai is called the Detroit of Tamil Nadu, but I think lately we might not like to use that term. This is the first state in manufacturing output of electronics, textiles, auto and auto components, leather and leather products. We have the highest renewable energy capacity in India of about 8,500 megawatts and still growing. And 10th largest in the world in terms of wind energy installations. Of course, India's largest and earliest IT park spread, which is the Tidal Park, inaugurated way back in 2000. One of the most urbanized states in India by geography and population, with almost 50% in urban areas. Then a large number of domestic and foreign tourist arrivals in the country with compounded annual growth rate of over 10%. Next. So so we talked about India, and now we need to focus on Tamil Nadu because we represent that state government. So what are the positives that are contributing to Tamil Nadu's high growth trajectory story? The first is the decadal CAGR of 9%, services, industries and services of 9% and 10% respectively. The largest contributor to this into India's GDP. And on purchasing power parity basis, it's higher. Actually, GDP is higher than Norway, Finland, Denmark, and some of these other top countries of the world. So, next. It's a global industrial and manufacturing hub with a robust industrial ecosystem of over 40,000 large industries supported by over 3 million SMEs. It is home to over 50 of Fortune 500 companies and 3,000 MNCs. In the last 4 years, we have attracted FDI of about $11 billion, which is more than double the cumulative FDI inflows from the year 2000 to April 2011. And over 10% of the country's output of paper, machinery, electronics, textiles, auto, and auto components are from Tamil Nadu. We are just trying to set the context for the later part of this presentation. And then, of course, the robust physical infrastructure. We have a long coastline, and we have a large number of ports and minor and major ports. We have an excellent road infrastructure, and even a strong presence of multilateral agencies like the Japan International Cooperative Agency and the World Bank. In fact, the World Bank has chosen Chennai as its back office for its world operations. And the next, of course, we have 20 industrial parks, including the SEZs. And we have a lot of land available if anyone wants to invest, if anyone wants to set up industries. We have a lot of land available just, Then renewable energy capital, as I said earlier, 37% of the total power capacity in Tamil Nadu is from renewable sources. And the world's largest solar park is now being developed in Tamil Nadu. And the second largest in terms of cogen power plants. You know, many of these sugar companies, they have cogen power plants where they burn bagasse and make and produce power. And this will be a power surplus by next year, and huge capacity additions have been already done or are in the pipeline. And another 65 billion billion investments are anticipated in the power sector. And of course, innovation and knowledge hub of India. The state is home to about 55 universities, 2,000 odd colleges, 572 engineering colleges, and 447 polytechnics. A large number, about 1 million engineers graduate every year. Of course, many of them end up here, but still, because the denominator is so huge, it doesn't matter actually. Because you can send about 100,000 or a few engineers, it doesn't really matter because there are so many of them being produced. And of course, I'd like to give you an aside here. One of the reasons why a lot of people want to come to Tamil Nadu, I went to Calcutta a few days back, and then I met a guy there who said, Chennai is really great because you have such a huge talent pool and such a remarkable engineering talent pool. And then I said, what about our cousin just 300 kilometers west? He said, Bangalore is good. But the problem with Bangalore is like, I don't know. Once you've come to Bangalore, you think you've arrived. Okay? So you have a chip on your shoulder and maybe a lakh more of money in your pocket. But then the person in Chennai is actually very grounded. He's a bit risk averse, of course, but then he's also very, he doesn't like to shift companies, so he's very loyal. And he's very loyal, and that company is like that. And then he's very humble. Of course, you may say that many of you have enough reasons to be humble and modest about. But then the fact is that if you're humble, you end up doing your job very well, and that a lot of companies like that. And this, I'm not telling you from my experience, but this is what others have told me, including companies which have come and invested in Tamil Nadu. And of course, it's the healthcare capital of India. So next time, some of you might want to get your health checkups done in Chennai, and maybe some procedures done in Chennai at maybe 1/10 the cost. Of course, I will not wish you those procedures, but you might like to, couple your business visits with some of these health facilities which are remarkable. Of course, you must come in with a lot of money. Next. And of course, it's a very strong tourism footprint. Huge number of domestic and foreign tourists visited Tamil Nadu in 2014. And we are expecting it to grow further. And then policy initiatives. We have a very robust and time-tested regulatory framework in place. And we are now saying that we will give you all clearances. We are doing what is called the e-biz portal, where you can enter everything online and you will get all your clearances online. It is going to be inaugurated maybe in a month. And and we are saying that we will do all your clearances in 1 month. So that is the kind of, just wait. And there is a thrust on the manufacturing sector, and of course MSMEs. And for ITES, we have a special policy package. Of course, the policy package is available on the net. You can go to tamilnadugim.com and you can get some of these details. So I'll not go into it. So all these policies have already been announced. There are fiscal incentives for mega, super mega, and ultra mega projects, basically dependent on how much investment is coming in, 300, 500,000 crores. And the location, if you're in Chennai and surrounding areas, if you're in the southern districts, or in the rest of Tamil Nadu. So there are some packages for each of these. There are subsidies, there are employment-based incentives, sales tax incentives, and so on, and which you can, I can send you copies if you so desire. And those are the fiscal incentives and special packages. And over 190 project proposals have been facilitated through the single window facilitation with an investment of over $10 billion. Okay, next. So this is the new paradigm. Why I'm trying to tell you all this is some of you might have left India maybe 20, 30 years, and you say, oh, I know India, don't talk to me about all this. But let me assure you, things are changing or have changed or are in the process of changing. So please come back and look at some of these things, and you might want to relook at your own investment portfolio. So the new paradigm that we are looking at is earlier we had product clusters. We had product clusters, automobile cluster, textile cluster, engineering cluster, and even an IT cluster. Some of you who might have gone to Chennai might have seen the IT highway. It's called the IT highway. We actually had the gall to think whether we could call it the IT Bay. Taking off from some other bay areas across the world. But then it actually is like an IT bay now. Then the phase 2 is the industrial estates, where we thought we'll put together the multi-sector industrial estates across the state. Phase 3 was the special economic zones, of course, taking off from the other experiments like in China, where the SEZs were very, very successful because of special tax incentives, especially on customs and those kind of things. Now, there are 36 operational SEZs in Tamil Nadu in the following focus sectors. Many of them are multi-product, but we also have ITES. How much? 23 here? 23 of them, including 8 of ELCOT, which Atul will be talking about. Auto ancillary sector zones, then electronics hardware zone, and then high-tech engineering, food processing, bioinformatics, footwear, and transport. Each of them has special economic zones. Now we are looking at integrated large area developments and special investment regions, where several 100 kilometers, looking at cluster-based approach. And the industrial corridor, the Chennai-Bangalore industrial corridor, which is really growing very well. Some of you who might have visited recently might have noticed. The Chennai-Bangalore corridor, the Madurai-Tuticorin corridor, and the petrochemical region in the Kadalur area, and the IT investment region in Chennai, Kanchipuram, and neighboring districts, and the aerospace and logistics park somewhere near Hosur, and other industrial towns and parks and townships, including one which is coming up near Hosur. Hosur, how many of you have heard of Hosur? Oh, so many, so I don't really need to tell you about it. But then one reason where we were told God has been very, very unkind to Chennai is the weather, the climate actually. And therefore, the first thing that people tell us when we tell them that, look, come to Chennai is, oh, the weather. So then we tell them, okay, if you have any problems with the weather, let's go to Hosur, where the weather is much better than Bangalore without the pollution. And you can set up your stuff there, and you can have your cake and eat it too. And we actually succeeded in convincing a lot of them. Now there is a new multi-product, what is that? manufacturing cluster. It's called Electronic Manufacturing Cluster, which is coming up in Hosur. 2,500 acres of land, all developed with infrastructure, power, connectivity, everything there. And that includes a huge portion for IT. So that is the area that we are looking at, which can compare with Bangalore in terms of climate. And it has other infrastructure also in place, and you might like to make weekend trips to Bangalore if you so want. Then you have this Vision 2023, which the Honorable Chief Minister unveiled about a couple of years back, 2012 to be precise, which looks at sustained GSDP growth, 11% per annum, to reach a global per capita income of 10,000 by 2023, with a lot of infrastructure investment planned in those sectors which have been linked, 217 high priority projects, and with a commitment from the government on through a project preparation fund and other vehicles to enhance financing sources for projects, including IT, and the planned infrastructure, of which 42% will be through a PPP model, is about $250 billion. Next. Of course, these are some of the success stories. Next. Yeah. So these are some of the companies which now we'll just look specifically at ITES. These are some 1,800 operational IT companies which are spread over more than 22 IT parks and over 23 electronic hardware technology parks. Of course, you have all the big names, and I'm sure many of your companies might be here, I'm sure. If they're not here, then they're not big, let me tell you that. Okay? So these are some of the biggest companies in the world. Next. Then in terms of electronics exports, where do we stand? Last year, we exported something like $12 billion of software from Tamil Nadu. And I think this is a good growth rate which we have achieved. And we expect to, maybe it will be much more, maybe 15,000 this year. The volume is growing, the quantum is growing. But then now we are trying to look at other areas, for instance, products. We were discussing that just before we came into this room. So services is one area which has now reached almost saturation, but then there is so much of demand for services and there's so much of employment. We have more than 300,000 people employed. And so it's a huge employment generator, which is it's a huge multiplier effect on the economy. And share of top states in electronic hardware exports, 46% of hardware exports is from Tamil Nadu. Okay, next. Then this is the picture about where are the existing electronic hardware SEZs in Tamil Nadu. You can see that unlike some states, for instance, Karnataka, most things are concentrated in the Bangalore-Mysore region. Similarly, Hyderabad, or everywhere it's concentrated in one single city or one single zone, national capital region and so on. But here we have consciously tried to take it to tier 2 and tier 3 cities so that the benefits of IT are spread across the state and not just within the Chennai area. So you have Tirunelveli, you have Madurai, you have Coimbatore, you have Salem, you have Hosur, and of course you have Tiruchi. So these are the companies these are the places where you can go to. And like I was telling you about this GMR Special Investment Region near Hosur, huge amount of developed infrastructure is available. Of course, Atul will be talking to you about the exact details of how much land is available, what you can do with this land, and so on. Okay, next. So these are the SEZs that we have, the land that is available there. You can come and set it up just like that. I mean, it's as simple as it. You just come today and you can set it up tomorrow. It's as simple as that. Okay, of course, this is, I believe this is a democratic state. And so I just wanted to emphasize our relations. The states have had long relations. And appropriately, without any gender bias, as you might have noticed. And we have 8, now coming to Jim, go back. Yeah, this is the Global Investors Meet. This is the last sales pitch. This is about the Global Investors Meet, which is on 9th and 10th of September. Next. We have 8 partner countries. Of course, they're all listed there. And these are the other organizations we are working with. We would love to put TIE there. And I hope after this event, you might like to help us do that. And next. About the Global Investors Meet, this is basically about building the brand equity of Tamil Nadu globally, to showcase the strengths and position of Tamil Nadu as a leading and preferred investments destination, and provide a platform for discussion on investment opportunities. And who's participating? It's the usual list. We have, go back. Yeah, I didn't want to use that word. Yeah, global leaders, heads of state, policy makers, members of international business and financial community, CEOs of corporates, national, multinational, global trade associations, academicians, thought leaders, 7 entrepreneurs, and 8, guess who is at the eighth number? Members from TIE, right? Yeah. So what are the key benefits? Of course, interaction with Fortune 500 companies. But considering that many of you are Fortune 500 companies, you will actually enhance this interaction. Then interactive sessions with policymakers. We expect senior government officials to be there. Then we have B2B and B2G sessions and partner country sessions. We have special partner country sessions with some of the listed countries there who have actually there's a lot of demand from these countries. The 8 countries that I listed there, including Korea, Japan, Singapore, some of those countries, who now see a lot of potential in this state, and they want to look at business and investment opportunities, and they are, and of course, display of international best practices. There are a couple of other things I want to touch upon before I hand over the mic to Atul. One is that recently we have come out with a startups warehouse, which we are building in the Tidal Park region. And we have consciously gone for this because we understand that now the focus is shifting from services to products. And we want to give an ecosystem which will help the product, which will help the startups to thrive. And whatever that is necessary will be done in terms of connectivity, in terms of space, infrastructure, power, whatever, the entire ecosystem, link up with VCs, customers, marketing, and et cetera, And we are going to give this at a very subsidized cost to entrepreneurs. And there is, of course, we are talking to, we have already talked to NASSCOM and CII and some of the other industrial IT groups there, who will be actually identifying these startups, the best ones who can actually get the benefit out of this. The second, and this will be also inaugurated during the gym. So any of you who might think of also incubating or supporting startups back there, you can look at this warehouse and take advantage of it. The second thing is on Tamil computing. See, a lot of us still don't realize that though digital literacy is happening in India, now mobile phones are in every hand. And there are now almost 1 billion mobile phones operating in India. So terms which 20 years back were only talked of in the computer context, IT context, are now very commonplace. It's very commonplace for people walking on the roads, a plumber, a carpenter, anyone, any housewife, anyone, to say that, look, I am WhatsApping this to you. There's a plumber who says there's a problem with the pipeline. He just takes a photo and he WhatsApps it to someone who understands what is to be done, and that's happening now. And the concept of people are saying, copy kar do, save kar do, then upload karo. I mean, all these terms which at one time you would have thought there's something to be understood about these concepts. Now people are talking about them. So delete kar do. As if it's such a simple thing. Delete kar do. So, or delete panidunga, whatever, delete marbeku, so whatever. So, I mean, let's try to being, linguistic here. So that has now got into the people's minds. Therefore, we need to provide them with skills or with products which are in the local language. So local language computing is going to be huge. So we are supporting this. We have what is called the Tamil Virtual Academy, and in fact, I'm meeting some of the Tamil internet groups also tomorrow and also in New York. And we're also doing a seminar this week, and of course, I'm not going to be there, on Tamil computing. The huge thing, text to voice, text to speech, and speech to text, and then so many character recognition. All this needs to, dictionaries, all that needs to be done in Tamil, and that and similar opportunity exists in other states also. And then we have what is called the ICT Academy of Tamil Nadu, which is a huge, very, very good PPP initiative, where we actually have trained teachers. This is a bridge. A lot of technology upgradation is happening there out in the industry, and here we have a lot of engineers being trained by the universities. There is a lot of gap between what is being trained in the universities and what is happening out there in the industry, and what the industry needs. So this ICT Academy does the bridging between these two, and we have trained almost 45,000 teachers in the last 5 years, and we have found that a lot of new concepts are now being we are able to push them to the academic area because of the ICT Academy. And then on connectivity, as you must have read in the papers, BharatNet, or the National Optical Fiber Network, is a very ambitious program in which about $1 billion, almost 5,000 crores, only in the state of Tamil Nadu and into 20 for the rest of the country, is going to be invested in optical fiber connectivity to every village in the country. Of course, I'm talking of Tamil Nadu also. 12,000 villages will be on 1 gig speeds, bandwidth. And you will have all these villages connected, and we are looking at an 18-month time frame. So the process is already started, and the money has been already allocated, and every village in the state, and of course urban areas, of course, will be connected through this optical network. So I'm just trying to tell you that look at the enormous possibilities, because ultimately, in a cloud kind of environment, everything is in a centralized environment, and therefore connectivity is going to become important. So many people ask me, what are you going to do about connectivity? And my answer is that there is nothing better than having optic fiber throughout the state. And so that is going to give us the connectivity that we want. So I'll now hand over the mic to Atul to talk to us about the SEZs of ELCOT. And if you have any questions, I will take it later on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Since it's well past the bedtime by Silicon Valley standards, I will not tax your patience further. There are only about 8 to 10 slides. This is with respect to the ELCOT, under the brand name of ELCOSES. We have been instrumental in putting up IT SEZ parks in many parts of the states. What has happened is, as you know, Karnataka is all focused around Bangalore. Other states have also done that. But we took this decision about 4 or 5 years back, and it has started yielding results. The tier 2, as you know, Tamil Nadu is about 55% urbanized. So this gives us a leverage as far as the tier 2 centers are concerned. And this also opens a great deal of opportunity for people here who can look at these places. Some of them may be from places of their birth. Chennai, Solinganallur, as is already known, we have got huge area which is just next to IT highway, and 377 acres. Next one. This is where we have got some of the big names in IT are already a part of us. Wipro, HCL, Satyam, that is Tech Mahindra now, CTS, Sutherland, and total availability of land available as of now is about 100 acres. We are also talking to one of the important mobile American company, which is the negotiations at the final stages. And soon, if that happens, we'll be having their back office as far as the research and development centers coming out of Chennai. Here, what is just previous one? Here, what has happened is CTS, after establishing there's 2.8 million square feet of a huge building there. We are also looking forward for further expansion into that. So this is also the ELCOSES Park, which was awarded recently about a year back as the second place where the maximum amount of infrastructure of the exports happens. Next one. And this one is in Coimbatore. As you know, Coimbatore has got a great deal of potential because of the connectivity, air connectivity. Also, as retentivity of the workforce is quite high. And for those who are uncomfortable with the hot and humid climate of Chennai, can always find refuge here because of silverous climate near at the foothills. We have got, Tidal has got about 9.5 acres and a huge 9 million square feet of plug-and-play space is available. It has also many of the companies which are local companies nearby, and they've been doing exceedingly well. Wipro is situated there, and they also started their operations. Next one. This one, Madurai, to our mind, has been very successful, the initiative as far as the Tier 2 is concerned. And part of it is because the availability of the competent task force is more so towards the southern part. And these are the areas that normally cater to Karnataka and Bangalore and all that. So this has been very successful. In fact, Honeywell vice president was there last year, and he inspected the new site and the building they have put up, and they have made a request for further expansion. So more than 4.5 acres of land which they've got here, they have requested for another 5 acres, and we are going to firm it up by the time the gym comes. The other companies, just before that, other companies who are doing very well is HCL. We have got Chella Software also. Now, why I want to mention this, this is a company which is situated around Madurai, and it has been doing exceedingly well. And this is where the Tier 2 comes out as a successful case, which gives encouragement to the local companies, and then they are able to integrate with the internet highway and the markets abroad. Here also we have this picture is of our own building there, which is about 50,000 square feet of built up space, plug and play space. Anybody can just start their operation straight away. Next one. This one is again Vadapalanji, because Madurai we expanded further. This is in the process of setting it up. We have got many bookings here as far as the HCL is concerned in a big way. They have taken about 80 acres. And this is where for those, the previous one, virtually we have run out of space. A few acres only is available. But this is the one where those who are interested in Madurai can look forward to. Next one. This is Tirunelveli. For those who are aware of the geography of the area, this is closer to Kanyakumari. And here also we have put up our own building, which is about 50,000 square feet. And this adds to the companies who want to come from Kerala, because what we realize is most of our workforce was moving towards Kerala, and Tirunelveli has got an acronym of being the Oxford of the South, and because of the high quality of engineers and the number of engineering colleges which are placed in there. And one thing I like to just mention is the cost, because cost is, if you look at it, is 15 lakhs per acre, and if you divide it by 65, you realize that it's nothing, it's pittance. So this is what the advantage of most of the IT parks in Tier 2 affords to you, because we have consciously not revised it. What happens in Tamil Nadu, and I know in other places also, once the IT company comes, the land prices around it just skyrocketed. This happens in Chennai, it happens in Coimbatore. So those who miss the bus, when they come back again, they're looking at the price rise of 2 times or 3 times. But here what we have done is consciously we have maintained the same price, because unless and until we provide this kind of incentive, then only it can work. Here we have got a success story in terms of Sintel, coming straight from Silicon Valley, and they have already got 100 acres. They have already constructed a building of 3 stories building, and which is really going to inaugurate in a month or 2. So this is a case in point where a company straight out of Silicon Valley goes into a virgin place, builds up a lot of capacity, and we look forward to their opening it up soon enough. Next one. This is Trichy. Actually, we thought that about closer to Chennai, this will be the favorite location, but we realized that Madurai has come up far better than this one. We have the photo which you see on the top is of our building, which is about 50,000 square feet of plug-and-play area, which we are offering to the companies. Here, the important thing is most of the companies who have come are the companies which are of native origin, those who who been able to cater to the entrepreneurs, the local talent pool. So Tier 2 has been spearheaded by such companies who find value for being coming in contact with the established IT parks. And here again, the price is something which, if you can look at it, about 34 lakhs per acre is just pittance for a place like that. We provide all the basic backup, the EV supply, and the other facilities which are required for an IT park. Next one. This is again Salem. Why I want to mention is that this here we have got a success story of a company which is based out of, or rather individual based out of Silicon Valley. He has invested his money, which has been looked up by his family firm, and now they are going to go ahead with the construction of their own building. So probably this is the model where we can say, I mean, you need not come back, but at least you can assist some of the people or interested people, or maybe your family members, if it's so required, to start up some unit there. I mean, this is, in fact, we had to relax our norms. Normally, we never used to give less than 2 acres of land. But for these particular cases, we reduced it to 1 acre so that they can start up. And they are going to start building, I think, a month or two. So here, Tier 2 has been sort of appreciated and taken initiative by the companies which are local. This is what I want to highlight, that we thought that big names will be coming. We have got big names like in Madurai. We have got Honey Valley that has started a company. We have got Sintel that has started in Tirunelveli. But what has taken up the challenge and opportunity is by the local companies which have spearheaded this, the occupancy in Tier 2 locations. Again, the price, just a minute, the price is, again, is 25 lakhs per acre, which is nothing compared to what the other places will be offering. Next one. Then again, what Secretary was talking about Hosur, we wanted to keep it in the end because we thought that we shouldn't let the cities within Tamil Nadu compete against each other. We have got about 100 acres of land available. And this being so close proximity with the Bangalore, about 30 kilometers. So if you look at the time it takes because of traffic snarls in Bangalore, this is just next door. And here also the cost of thing is 63 lakhs per acre is the cost, which is again pittance compared to that. And we look forward to many companies. The companies who have got land here are basically out of Mumbai. So they have found a lot of value in this, and we're looking forward to it. In fact, the cluster which Secretary was mentioning, which is a multi-item cluster, is closer by to this. So this is where any of the companies who are interested can do. And if they want to start quickly, we have also constructed our own 60,000 square feet of a building so that they can start immediately. I think these are the few of the slides I like to leave it with you, and I look forward to that. Apart from this, ELCOT has got our own single window avenue so that you can make use of it, and we'll try to spearhead with whatever clearances are required. I'd like to thank you for your patience. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, on the BPI, you wanted that slide. You can actually, there are 3 things. One is the asset value, growth of asset value, and then the preservation of the asset value. And then how the ease of repatriation of proceeds to this thing. So based on these 3 things, I think this Stern School of Business has done this. And so, I mean, it's not an India thing. It's your thing. So, okay. So.
State your name and ask the question. I'm Ranjit Pancholi, member of TIE, and potential entrepreneur for some investments somewhere. Two things. One, a comment about your presentation and something that hit me. And second, something more about that I like to learn. The comment is that this is a political season in America. And you are in a very difficult situation to put one of the candidates on the screen. So remove it, because there are people who are here who may not like the people who are in that picture. And then it goes for the Indian company also, the Indian partner as well. So please remove that one from your presentations for future. I know very well. They were just predicting who's the president. But the difficulty is that there are many sympathizers here who may not want to invest just because of that. All right. The second comment on your presentation was the issue of the flags that I saw as your partner countries. You are in America, sir. it takes 5 minutes to insert a picture for your work, please do so. You are in America, have some American presence. It doesn't look nice to the host when you don't have America on your slides, right? You need to have the angles to say how you can introduce that as soon as you can do. So those are the 2 comments for your presentation. Very good presentation, was very informative for me. So thank you very much. And the question for you now is this. I am a little bit gun shy from all the promises that we hear from many of the government officials and the ministers and the chief ministers and many who come here. The difficulty that all of us are very well aware of is that none of them or some of them do not hold good. And in reality, the big numbers that you talk about, what is in for me? So answer that question in your presentation. What will I get out of your mega project out there with 300 crore available? I'm sorry, I'm not in that league. We are talking about the medium scale or small scale part of it. And for that one, what exactly I will go get from you should be a very nice presentation that would help every one of us understand what exactly we are looking into. So if you can answer it a little bit, but then maybe introduce that in your presentations for future. Thank you. Thank you. So there was no question.
That was a question.
Nobody asked.
No, it was a statement.
Thank you, both of you, for a pretty illuminating presentation. Even for some of us who hail from Tamil Nadu, who keep visiting there quite often, many of the facts and figures that you provided, does serve as a kind of a reinforcement as to why, even after all these years, we should continue to try harder to try and channelize investments over there. Couple of observations/questions. Number one. By the way, my name is Sundaram. I'm partner and CFO at Bearing Private Equity Partners. It's a private equity firm which has been set up to channelize investments into India. We manage about 3 funds. We have deployed about $1.25 billion over the past decade and a half, by way of a background. One of the significant challenges which we find in terms of convincing global investors to choose India over the other countries, other investment opportunities, whether in the Western world or in the emerging markets, is best encapsulated in the World Bank study on global competitiveness, wherein India ranks 142 out of 181 countries. They've ranked us on various parameters. The only parameter on which we are sub 100 is on availability of credit. On every other parameter, we are 100 plus. So, this again goes back to the gentleman's question on what is happening on the ground in terms of trying to make doing business in India easier. And let me actually paraphrase one of the really major global investors, one of the sovereigns which invests into India. And this was an ethnic Indian sitting there who made this comment, who said that getting into India is like Abhimanyu breaking into the Chakravyuh. He knows how to get in, but he doesn't know how to get out. Okay. So while investing is easy, it is divesting, getting money back, things like transfer pricing, tax issues, and things like that seem to be impediments into reinvesting in India. So while investing is probably easy to do, reinvesting is proving to be a bit of a challenge, especially convincing people who have already been there to come back yet again. And one of the comments which we hear is, I'd rather settle for a 7 or 8% return from somewhere else in the globe than a 20% in India. It's just not worth the hassle. So I just wanted to hear from you, being on the administrative side with your deep experience, and not only that, dealing with the political system also, as to where you see this competitiveness in a relative sense of the Indian industry going, and what kind of an environment is the government and the bureaucracy going to establish for that. The second question I have is with specific reference to Tamil Nadu, particularly over the past about 7 or 8 years, and we we have many companies that we have invested in which are there in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. And one of the major reasons why our investments haven't produced the kind of returns that they ought to has been on account of lack of availability of power. I mean, you mentioned Coimbatore. In Coimbatore, some of the companies have, forget about companies, some of the households have a 16-hour power cuts a day, 18-hour power cuts a day. And the initial investment or business premise, when we factor in electricity at so-and-so rate, versus when you have to produce your own electricity using diesel gensets, which just sends the economics for a toss. So things such as this, infrastructure, electricity, I mean, having a great labor force, education system, all this is fantastic. Skilled population, great. But what's the government doing to address issues such as availability of power, connectivity, reliability of bandwidth, infrastructure, roads, airports? What's being done in this context? Would love to hear, please. Thank you.
Actually, looking at that, I'll answer the first question first, which is on global competitiveness and ease of doing business. Of course, what you're saying is true, but then that has become the trigger for a large number of activities which have now started, and that includes this ease of doing business index, in which there are several components which are being specifically addressed. It ranges from power, all the approvals, power, the local body approvals, and then pollution control, all that. Everything is being put into one single portal. I know because we are doing it every day now for the past 3 months. This portal is almost ready, and the government of India is saying that we will rank states on the ease of doing business, and if you don't feature in any of the first 3 or first 5, we will make it known. We will publish this ranking. So the government of India is actually going to publish this ranking, and it will actually make states want to be better. And they are saying why you will, how the index is generated is based on several actual parameters. Whether your municipal laws allow permissions to be given within 30 days or so. If it is yes, is there a software for that? Is there a portal for that? Is there a single window approach for that? And then there's a mark for that. Based on that, they will give you a rank. And this will help, I think, improve the business competitiveness. And this is a national issue, and it is being addressed. So I can assure you that it is being addressed. Okay. On the issue of MSME, you see, I told you that there are almost 40,000 MSMEs, and MSMEs form the bulk of, whether it's leather or many of the other textile clusters, all MSMEs. Since you are from Tamil Nadu, and power is an important issue. But also you must have noticed in my presentation that power supply was bad a couple of years back, till maybe last year. But now capacity additions of over 3,000 megawatts have happened in the last, all these plants have thermal plants and solar plants and then wind energy, all that has been added. Of course, even the nuclear plant at Kudankulam, that has added 500, now going up to 1,500 megawatts. So next year we will be power surplus. Now you please check with your people in Coimbatore whether there is still any power cut. I can assure you, even in summer we did not have power cuts. The wind energy generation was so good that we didn't have power cuts even in summer. So please check, and the latest position is that there are no power cuts, even for industries.
Yes. My name is Naresh Batra, and I'm a charter member. Last month, we had a visit by Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and they also showed us some very illuminating numbers. And they were saying they are the most industrialized state, and they are the highest GDP, and you are showing the different numbers. So, I mean, again, you are claiming that you are the highest GDP and the...
No.
So I don't know what numbers to believe.
No, you have to tell me which number you don't believe. You have to be specific.
Okay.
Come on, we are in Silicon Valley.
Okay, 46% of electronics. And same kind of numbers Maharashtra claimed, okay, that they were the most industrialized and the highest electronic producer in India. We can show you the presentation.
Okay.
So,
I have actually figures to prove
that.
The
difficulty I am having, the different states in India claim all these numbers, and there is no cohesive top-down number that how the various states are doing. Same thing applies to the per capita income. Which state has the highest per capita income in India? Last time I heard Haryana was always the highest per capita income, whether it's based on agriculture or other industrial. So I don't believe any of these numbers that all these different people come and show us. Okay?
No, data is data. Okay? So, which source? So, I'll just, data is, all of us have data to back what we are saying. So, it of course depends on which data set you're looking at, and which source you're looking at, which period you're looking at, what assumptions you've made, and what conclusions you've drawn. So, I don't think any of the figures needs to be disputed from a point of view of accuracy. Okay, if you have specific issues on some states saying something, we are looking at only very broad figures saying that, look, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, Punjab cluster, and Maharashtra, these are industrialized states, One state is higher in one year. It's like, Princeton being ranked one year and Oxford next year or Harvard the third year. None of them detracts from the fact that they are in the top 10. So you can take it that way. I mean, it all depends on which year, what data set, and so on. Okay, I mean, I'm saying, see, one thing that we learn in the economics class, what we learn in the economics class is first look at the data, then look at the assumptions, look at the conclusions, look at the procedure, so the entire thing, and then we'll come to a conclusion on that.
Yeah, my name is Asif Ali. I run a small startup in Silicon Valley and Chennai as well. Just wanted to, all these numbers are good for very large companies. All the land that you're giving away free is great. But
no, nothing is free. Sorry.
At almost free prices, right? So, nobody wants to go in the middle of nowhere and start a startup, So what are you doing to improve the quality of life in cities like Chennai? The nightlife sucks. The alcohol policy of funding, at least through alcohol, kind of is insane, and...
you would be surprised about the alcohol policy in Tamil Nadu.
I'm not surprised. I've been there. I'm not a heavy drinker, but I'm just saying what I hear from why people like Bangalore versus Chennai. There's a serious debate. You got to consider it. So the alcohol policy is pretty messed up for the last 10 years or so. Second thing is, I think there is certain, as someone said, repatriation of funds, taxation. It's all vague. It's like a black hole. You just, once you're in, you don't know you're stuck. And I've personally experienced it. Right, we're dealing with a bunch of tax issues, with some government official issuing diktats every once in a while, and how are you going to improve the bureaucracy? So I think for startups, I think the very important thing is how to improve the quality of life. Then we can figure out where we want to set up, we can figure out how to hire people, all of that. That's a very important thing that I think Tamil Nadu is way behind. And I'm from Chennai, by the way. So how do you plan to address that? I mean, you can't,
I was just talking to some people last couple of days here, wanted to meet them in the evening. And most of them go to bed by about 9 or 10 because they have to get up in the early morning and then go off to work. Okay, so this, I'm not sure. I hear this issue about nightlife and all that. I'm not sure that is an issue as much as you're making it out to be.
I think it is a very serious issue as far as small startups and young, tech executives are concerned. If your quality of life is not good, people want to move away. That's one of the reasons why I came to Silicon Valley itself. Definitely want to be in Silicon Valley, and the quality of life is way better. And I'm looking forward to coming back to India, but the quality of life is still bad.
Yeah, quality of life would include other parameters than pubs and discos, right? And nightlife. That would be also one. That would be one parameter, and it would have a weightage of maybe 0.1. Okay, your point is taken, but I can assure you there's a lot of alcohol in Tamil Nadu. So.
Whether you believe it or not, every month, at least on an average, I coordinate with one large, medium, small companies setting up. Last we did AstraZeneca, which is a French company, large GIC. And I just want to quote one thing. I took Bharat Desai of Central to Trichy on the same day, morning to Trichy, afternoon to Madurai, late evening before evening to Tirunelveli. And in all these places, everybody was there to present him and pitch, say that Trichy is God, or Madurai is God, or all these places, Tirunelveli is God. Everywhere he took his own time of 15-20 minutes talking to various people and come back and tell me, hey, Trichy is not okay, we'll go. Then Madurai, not okay, we'll go. Tirunelveli, he saw the place. There is no airport at that point of time. He came back to me. We were traveling in the car near a place called Virudhunagar, a cafe coffee day. He said, Puru, I'm going to invest in this place. He has taken up 100 acres, 200,000 square feet building is coming up. That's what Secretary said. And Mr. Sridhar Vembu of Zoho has taken up a place which cannot have an airport in at least for another 100 years, Tenkasi, which is a remote area. 150 people are sitting and developing courts there. See, what are we talking? We have set up a lot of rural BPOs.
No airport, so people cannot fly.
No, that's okay. You can talk anything. But when no airport, people say airport. When there is an airport, people... So what I would say is that talent has scored in the state. Okay, we have challenges on taxations, double taxations, product companies. The policy advocacy is very different. NASSCOM has been working on it. You know that. There are so many committees, panels, lot of stuff that we will take it and debate probably offline. But as far as the government is concerned, is it single window really working? I have somebody called Uni Krishnan. I don't know whether still is there. He used to update us, call up and update us. Today morning, I had a challenge. Somebody from Cognizant and HCL texted me saying that the water challenge has again come up in Soling and Allur, if you are from Chennai, right? And last year, when I had the water tanker issue, I called up the Water Tanker Association president. He said, sir, the government is not calling. You are calling. Then I explained to him, sir, because of you, almost 3 lakh people could not go to work. He said, what is it that you are talking? That's the scale. We have 3.75 lakh people directly employed in Tamil Nadu, which is second largest state in the country. It's not because Infosys' largest facility is here. Wipro's largest facility is here. TCS, Cognizant. They have largest facilities in Chennai, not in Bangalore or wherever the revenues get booked, right? So that's a great place. The challenges are immense. I'm not downsizing the challenges, but together we are there. And I think that's what we try to do, right? So today the government is here to tell us what is what, right? So there could be, government is a government, right? So with all that, we have techie people at the helm of affairs in the state of Tamil Nadu. And I think in the days to come, if you all can bet, believe, and work together, things can change. Thank you.